What you can expect is a series of prompts that I'll give you to focus your attention, and there'll be periods of silence where I allow you to sit with and be with what we're working through today. And so, what we'll be focusing on for practice today, what we'll be with during our sit, is the idea of gratitude. I think we've all heard that being intentional with gratitude is something that we should include in our life for better mental health and for, as a tool to help us ward against depression and other types of things of that nature. But we're going to take today and try to make it practical, something we can do in the moment and see if how that lands and how that feels. So that's kind of my intention for where I want to take us today in our practice. The way we'll get there is through a bit of mindfulness, and that's a big, large word, but really that just means paying careful attention to what's happening. So we'll be focusing on the breath and the body, and then we'll do some visualization and exercises to help us bring about some gratitude. So with that, I will go ahead and get us started. So if you haven't already, check your posture for me. And what I'm looking for with your posture is, are you seated in a comfortable position? Something that's not going to annoy you for the next 30 minutes. Do your hands have a nice place to rest? Can you take a good breath in? Maybe roll your shoulders up, down, and back and let them soften a bit, right? And just notice how you feel. And if you can make any adjustments or tweaks to make yourself 5 to 10% more comfortable, by all means, welcome that in. That's an important part of what we're doing. And then I'll invite you to close the eyes. So if you're comfortable enough to do that, the eyes will close. If not, just let your gaze softly rest out slightly in front of you on a non moving object so you don't get too distracted from anything. And this is kind of the conditions, the setup for the practice, especially if you're new. Something to consider is when we're doing this practice, we're paying attention and we're cultivating an attitude of curiosity and kindness to whatever arises. We're not checking a box, we're not trying to necessarily get something right. But more importantly, we're trying to see what comes up in our mind and how we react to it. And can we do that in a very compassionate and kind way? So take that attitude with you for those who are first new to this. Um, as we start to settle in, start to feel your body. And when I say feel your body, I'm asking you to pay attention to where your weight is distributed, where you're holding tension. The way your breath is moving is a very prominent thing that you might feel in this moment. Notice any tension you might be holding in your jaw, any gripping you might be doing with your hands. Let yourself be soft, but firm at the same time. And may we allow our hearts to open to gratitude, welcoming both the joys and the challenges that come with that, to kind of affirm and open up the practice. In this way, just sitting and paying attention to what you're noticing is the first step towards that idea I mentioned about mindfulness. In this way, you're hearing the sounds of the environment around you. You're feeling what you feel in your body that's happening right now. There might be a stream of thoughts occurring that you're noticing. And in this first part of practice, we're just doing something we called open, open awareness. There isn't a direct focus yet for what I want you to pay attention to. I just want you to kind of see it all. Notice how you feel about all of it. Also, importantly, notice that it all changes. In this way, open awareness has a bit of freeing quality to it. There's a spaciousness, right? There has to be enough room for all of this to occur as we're sitting and observing it. But it's not the only way that we can pay attention. We can also take our attention and narrow it and focus it. And so I invite you to do that now, narrowing and focusing your attention on your breath. The way that I like to do this is to notice where my breath begins, like the very point of origination, to feel the breath start to come into my body, to feel where it moves my diaphragm, to notice when I've taken in as much air as I can. Notice the exhale and the length of that exhale, and how the process repeats itself. When we allow our attention to be held in this way, we also can feel the rhythms of our breath, the way that it's moving, the way that it's impacting our overall feeling, almost what I like to call the tone of our body is made up by this rhythm of breathing. You can find gratitude here, gratitude with each exhale, a reminder that the process of aliveness is still working within you, and that you're fortunate with each exhale, a new beginning happens as the next breath rolls in. When we hold our attention in one place, we do that lightly and compassionately because you're going to be distracted. As you observed in our open awareness, there's other things here beside us just focusing on the breath. And so if your mind wanders or has wandered or continues to wander and you have to keep bringing it back to the breath, know that that's okay. That that is what we're doing effectively, strengthening and improving our focus and our attention. At any point in time, as we begin to move into our gratitude and our point of reflection, you can always come back to being mindful of your breath and being aware of what you feel in your body. These are anchors that you can utilize at any time throughout the practice. So, for this next portion of practice, we're going to offer an opportunity to reflect on gratitude. And so, in this way, I'm going to ask you to consider 2 to 3 things that you're grateful for. They don't have to be complex. Small is fine. I think sometimes we measure in size. They only need to be meaningful to you. Good weather, your own health, companionship, child, or a pet, or anything that feels true to you. And as you are taking this time to reflect on this memory, pay close attention to what you're feeling. Be mindful of your breathing. Notice where gratitude begins to come alive in your body. In this way, you allow your picture or your gratitude of reflection to expand, to be as large, to be as colorful or as loud, to expand to any number of sensory information that makes it more alive within you. Allowing your gratitude to expand for all the blessings you have, for your health and your body, for the health and the caring of your loved ones. As we move through practice, the sense of mindfulness that we started to cultivate with our breath earlier. That same attitude follows us as we focus on these thoughts and these feelings and sensations. Should you find yourself meeting a challenge or something difficult arising, or maybe even a pattern of frustration finds its way into the mix, know that we would want to meet that with an attitude of compassion and understanding, that it's okay, that we're learning, that it takes time to grow, that you don't need to be perfect. Now I will invite you to focus your attention on gratitude through a different lens. And this would be for the challenges you may have experienced in your life. This could be something you've recently faced or something that's happened to you from your past, a conflict, a loss, an obstacle. But we're bringing that to the forefront of our mind so that we can inquire about what we learned from it, how the experience shaped you, what new value did it add to you. The gratitude and the practice of this nature is to find the thread of growth or insight that came from such an experience. And if you notice any tension in the body or difficulty with the exercise, return to being mindful of the breath, being mindful of what that tension feels like, and allow it to be. In inviting the opportunity to sit with challenges, we get a fuller perspective of the way gratitude is cultivated. We also learn where our boundaries are and how over time we can start to grow and expand those. The final part of our gratitude practice today is to allow that gratitude to expand and extend to others, to bring to mind someone who supported you, a mentor, a teacher, a friend, a loved one. And in bringing them into your mind and considering and thinking of them, wishing for them to be safe, to be joyful, and to feel appreciated. In focusing those wishes towards the individual, you are extending the same gratitude that you've experienced, the same wish for them to also have. In this way of wishing safety and joy and appreciation, we are expanding this beyond ourselves. The things that we wish for and want are often things that others around us wish for and want. It's the thread that binds us. The happiness, the joy, and the gratitude that you wish for yourself is the same thing that others around you desire. Remember, if your mind wanders from the ideas that you're focusing on, recognize that wandering and acknowledge it and softly begin again. Begin to let your attention start to rest on the breath again, to allow the focus of gratitude It's a practice as a visualization to soften away, to keep the attention on the breath, being mindful of how it's coming, how it's going. More importantly, be mindful of how you are receiving the practice. Notice what and how you feel. And if necessary, offer yourself a bit of compassion for taking the time and the opportunity to sit. It takes courage to begin to be friendly with yourself. And by simply choosing to sit and be with your breath and yourself in this moment, you've displayed that courage. As we begin to exit the practice, start by moving the hands nice and easy. Maybe roll the neck from side to side. Take your time in letting the eyes open, letting yourself bring back into your visual field all the colors and lights and all the things that come with our vision that adds to what we're able to pay attention to.